Hi everyone. We wanted to talk to you a little bit about catechumenate ministry and your role in the catechumenate. You may be starting out, or you may have been doing this a long time, and maybe you think you don't have enough. Maybe you don't have enough resources, enough volunteers, enough seekers. What a lot of people tell us is they just don't have enough confidence.
Well, my name is Diana McAlintoe.
And I'm Nick Wagner.
And here at TeamRCIA.com, the number one thing that we try to do for people like you is to let you know that you have enough. You have all the resources that you need, all the confidence that you need. And what we try to do is help you make sense of all of the tools that are already right in front of you so that you can do this ministry as best you can.
And we kind of think of that as a promise that we make to you, but it's not really even us making it to you. It's the Holy Spirit that makes you that promise, because God wouldn't give us this call, it wouldn't give you this call if you didn't have everything you needed. So this video and a series of videos that we're going to do here is going to be all about unlocking your amazingness that the Holy Spirit has embedded inside of you.
Now, we know that this is going to happen for you because we've been doing this for a really, really long time. In fact, we've been doing TeamRCIA since 2007, but even long before that, we've been doing individually catechumenate ministry in different settings, different communities, and we were just like you, feeling like we did not have enough.
Oh, man. When I started out, I went to school, right, to learn about this, and then I got into a real parish, and they kind of volunteered me to be on the catechumenate team and even to lead the catechumenate team. And man, I was just shaken because they gave me this like giant catechism, this curriculum that I had to teach, and I'm not a teacher. My one experience of teaching was I got roped into being a substitute teacher for the 4th grade religion class when I was in high school. And God, I was terrible. So I was just really, really nervous about this whole thing that I got roped into here.
And so I think all of us have that kind of experience where it feels overwhelming. Some of the ways that we hear that from you, from people that we've encountered through TeamRCIA, is they say things like, I'm not a leader, I'm not a teacher, I don't know enough, I don't know what the curriculum is, what if I say the wrong thing or teach the wrong thing? Or something that I hear a lot these days is, I'm just too overwhelmed, there's just too much stuff and I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
Well, there's one story that I know Nick loves, and I've seen the movie several times, but it's that kind of like that Wizard of Oz moment.
Yeah.
It's a little cheesy, but at the end there, who's the guy who says to Dorothy?
It's the Scarecrow and the Tin Man.
Yeah.
They're in there, as their farm hands now, and they're around her bed, and she's waking up, and she realizes that she's got everything that she went looking for across the rainbow. She's got right here at home. All the gifts that she needs are within her and within her community. And that's kind of the tearjerker part of that story, right? But I remember watching that. It'd be on like once a year when I was a kid. They'd show it around the holidays, and it was in black and white because we had a black and white TV, and it was just that whole sense that this little farm kid could just have access to all the things she dreamed about. And that was inspiring for me when I was a child.
So one way that we've discovered, both individually on our own in our own ministry, but also doing TeamRCIA and walking with other catechumenate ministers who are either starting off brand new or have been doing this for a long time and had to learn the hard way too, just like us. One way that you can kind of tackle and manage all of that fear of not having enough is just to know the resources that you have right in front of you. And one of the biggest aha moments for me was when I realized that there's an actual book There's a book that tells you pretty much everything that you need to know. So, you might not have the book, but that's easily solved. You don't have to go into Oz to go get it. You can find it.
You don't need magic slippers.
I know. No, you don't need any ruby slippers, although that'll be really nice. But I'll show you my book, which I've had since, I think, 1996 when I first got it. It's The Rite of Christian Initiation of Adults. This is called the Study Edition, and it's only called the Study Edition because it's not the pretty hardbound one that you use during the actual rites. But this book, and you'll see, it's falling apart. It's in sections, but I've kind of duct taped it together. But once I started reading this, things started clicking into place, but not immediately. It took me years and years, and even now, reading a paragraph or a page that I thought I knew and understood, I see and understand things differently, more clearly as the years go by.
So the trick to reading any ritual text, really, or any hard book, is to kind of retranslate in your own words what the thing is saying. And you can try this right now with paragraph 1, the very first paragraph of the introduction to the rite. If you hold up that section, Diana.
Here's my section that fell out.
But if you look at paragraph 1, it says this is the words. Now this is the words in the current translation. This is all going to be retranslated. And I got to tell you, the new translation isn't any easier. It's going to be the same kind of churchy language. But just listen and think about, and think about when you're doing this on your own, doing it kind of Lectio Divina style, where you're really praying over it. That's what I did when the light clicked on for me about this. So the very first sentence says, the rite of Christian initiation presented here is designed for adults. So you want to pause and Lectio Divina, pray, meditate over that sense. This is for adults who, and here's another Lectio Divina line, after hearing the mystery of Christ proclaimed. I mean, you could spend really 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes just meditating on that line, hearing the mystery of Christ proclaimed. Consciously and freely seek the living God and enter into the way of faith and conversion as the Holy Spirit opens their hearts.
That's just the first sentence.
Yeah, and now when you think about, if you just pause on that, what does it mean to enter the way of faith and conversion? What does it mean to let the Holy Spirit open our hearts? What does it mean to be a leader whose job it is to accompany people who are just now embarking on that journey?
Yeah.
That's such... To me, that's way different than teaching this massive textbook, you know?
What it tells me, what it tells us, is that the main thing that is working here is not meant to be you. It's the Holy Spirit. Yeah. The Holy Spirit is the main driver of this entire process. Mm-hmm. And so that should relieve a lot of stress and anxiety on our shoulders, that it's not all about us, and it never really is anything about us. It's always about the Holy Spirit, about the work of the Trinity. And so when we recognize that the Holy Spirit is driving this process, and that this is about the seeker hearing the mystery of Christ, it doesn't say there, the 20 topics of the catechism. It says hearing the mystery of Christ. So we have to reflect on what is the mystery of Christ that we hear. If the seeker is not going to school to learn about Christ, and the process here is telling us that we're kind of getting into the story midway, we're dropping into the seeker's story, because all along they have been hearing about the mystery of Christ. How is it that they have been hearing about the mystery of Christ? It's through the way that they encounter God in their daily life, in the ordinary ways that Christians reveal Christ to them. And that's amazingly beautiful, and it's also a little frightening, because it tells us every day we need to be proclaiming Christ so that seekers can hear the mystery of Christ. in our ordinary lives.
Yeah, so the mission given to us there in that very first sentence is also the method, right? Because like Diana said, if the job of the seeker is to listen to the message of Christ, to hear the mystery of Christ, we've got to be proclaiming that mystery. And conversely, we also have to be listening ourselves, right? We have to not be studying the catechism so much, although that's good to do, but we listen first of all to the mystery of Christ. You know, in our loved ones, the way we encounter Christ in our loved ones. In the scriptures say we encounter Christ in the stranger, the person who's across the boundaries, like the Samaritan woman. Our sacramental theology tells us we encounter Christ primarily in the sacraments, especially the Sunday liturgy. All these ways where we are encountering the mystery of Christ, and we bring that encounter to the seeker. And as best we can, we try to speak in seeker language, not in church language, not in our language, not in catechetical language, but in the seeker's language. We try to translate all this. What sounds like good news to that person in front of us?
So then, if we have done that part, proclaimed in language that is understandable to the person hearing it, then the Holy Spirit continues the Holy Spirit's work. Consciously and freely, the seeker seeks the living God and enters the way of faith and conversion as the Holy Spirit opens their hearts. So if we are proclaiming Christ constantly and confidently, and in a way that the seeker is able to respond to that, that means the Holy Spirit little by little is opening up that person's heart, so that now we can accompany them onto the way of faith and conversion. So there's a lot going on in just that one paragraph, that one sentence of this entire ritual text, but it gives us the context and the lens for how we can then approach this ministry in a way that gives us confidence, because now we can be confident that the Holy Spirit is always at work. The Holy Spirit is not going to let us down. The Holy Spirit is not going to abandon us. So then how do we respond then to that confidence in the Holy Spirit?
Yeah. And we know that's going to happen for you. We know that confidence is going to grow in you. We know that the Holy Spirit is going to give you that confidence. We know that you're going to discover the gifts that are inside of you, that the Holy Spirit has already given you. They're already there, and you just have to find them and unlock them and use them. We know that's going to happen because, as we said earlier, the Holy Spirit isn't going to have called you to this ministry without giving you the gifts to do it. It's just not the way God works. God is a loving, generous God. Whenever somebody told me once, if you pray for a glass of water, watch out, because God's going to send like an ocean waterfall drenching you, So, and it's like that. If you pray for the gifts to do this ministry, you're going to be flooded with the capability to do what God asked you to do.
So back in 2007, Nick and I were thinking, how can we help catechumenate ministers really feel more confident? Because this ministry is so important. And we hear that from all of the people that we've encountered since 2007, that they can't even think of doing any other kind of ministry other than catechumenate ministry because it is so needed in the world. And so when we were praying, when we were talking about how can we help catechumenate ministers do this with more confidence, the Holy Spirit opened up doors and gave us a lot of work.
Yeah.
And out of all of that work was born TeamRCIA.com. And it started off with just a blog.
It was a blog on blogger.com, if you even know about that or remember that. But it's a very basic way to get on the web.
But that's been our primary way of helping catechumenate ministers all around the globe do this ministry with more confidence. And so we want to let you know that, we've gone past Blogger since our 2007 days, and we've gone through several different iterations of this website, and it has grown and grown and grown with the Spirit's help and your encouragement. And we want to let you know that a brand new website, the best one ever, is on its way.
Yeah, we kind of outgrew the other one, and it wasn't letting us provide the help that we thought we could, because we don't understand technology, and we were kind of boxed in. We got ourselves boxed into a corner with our previous website. We couldn't make it work anymore. And then we found this great father and son team who are redesigning it for us from ground up. And it's super awesome. The awesome thing about it is it's going to make it much easier for you to learn how to read the way we were just talking about. It's going to make it easier for you to learn how to discover the gifts that you already have within you and maximize those for use in this ministry. It's going to help you discover all kinds of resources that you'll have available to help you walk with the seekers on this journey of faith.
So we're really, really excited to show that to you, but it's not ready quite yet.
Yep. This is a preview. It's not ready yet.
A little more marinating and work behind the scenes, but it's coming soon, just in a few weeks. And so while we are getting ready for that date, that reveal date, we want to ask you to get ready with us and to do two things with us for that launch.
So one is to look for the next video. We're going to do this. We're going to do another video next week. It's going to show up next Monday in what is our regular newsletter release, and we're going to talk about some of the core things you need to be able to engage more deeply with the seekers. So if you start announcing the mystery of Christ, and you start living the mystery of Christ, and you start being the mystery of Christ out in the world, you're going to get people that you may not even realize you were talking to showing up and saying, well, I want to know more about that. Well, why are you thinking that? Why do you say that? Why are you able to do this in the face of all this conflict and disharmony, and you seem so calm and joyful all the time? People are going to ask you questions. And so you need to be able to engage with them in a deep and spiritual way. We're going to talk a little bit about that in our video next week. So the first thing we want you to do is check your email, and when our regular Monday email comes out, don't just pass by it, but open it up and take a look at the video.
And then the second thing we ask you to do is to put onto your calendar December 7. That's a Wednesday, December 7. We're going to have a webinar that day, and it'll be jam-packed like all our monthly webinars are, with a ton of resources and tools to help you engage into this ministry. And we're going to go over one specific tool that has been really fruitful for us in our own catechumenate ministries and communities, but also with other people who have utilized this tool. So December 7, Wednesday, sign up for the webinar. We're going to have links in the newsletter for that day so that you can sign up, and it's free, totally free. Anyone who wants to participate, just come and join in. And so that tool is going to help you skyrocket your engagement quotient with your seekers and with the catechumens and candidates that you work with in this ministry.
So we said two things. One is watch for next week's video. That's going to be more of a preview of coming attractions. And two, get that webinar date on your calendar for December 7th. And there's really a third thing. If you do one more thing, at the bottom of this video on this page here is a comments box. If you just write something in the comments box, like one thing you got out of this video, or one experience you've had with catechumenate ministry, or one thing that would really be great if you tell us what your biggest roadblock is. Is it lack of confidence? What is it that you think you lack that's a real roadblock that's keeping you from being everything that you hope to be in this ministry?
So hopefully this short video has given you a little boost of confidence and a little bit of excitement to come and watch the next video and to join us for that December 7 webinar. As always, we're so grateful for everything that you do to help seekers find and follow Christ. My name is Diana McAlintal.
And I'm Nick Wagner.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone. See you next week.